Hello everyone, I hope you all are having a great day. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the webinar on Zoho Cliq's platform, Connections and Extensions. I'm Purvik, the developer platform evangelist for the Zoho Cliq team, and I will be walking you through the entire session. We also have with us Ashik from the technical support team to answer your queries throughout the session and during the QA session at the end of the webinar. I just wanted to quickly remind you that this is a recorded session and we will be sending you the recording post the webinar via a follow-up email. And also to brief you about the Q&A session, we will have it at the end of the webinar. You can post your questions throughout the course of the session using the questions tab on the left of your screen so our experts can answer them promptly. Also, if you experience any difficulties in hearing my audio or if the video isn't loading, please mention it in the chat tab so Ashik can help you. A gentle reminder for all the attendees, if you want regular updates from Zoho Cliq, please follow our social media handles to stay updated on the latest features, webinars, and lots more. You can take a look at the slide for our social media handle details. If you haven't seen the webinar about the introduction to Cliq platform, then you can watch it on our YouTube channel. Zoho Cliq's platform, connections and extensions. What are connections? Connections are used to integrate third-party services with Zoho Cliq. They're used in a URL invocation task to access authenticated data. In other words, they can only access data that you authenticate. So you don't have to worry about any privacy issues when it comes to connecting your apps. You can connect to any application that supports API connection in the Custom Services tab by creating your own custom connection. Moreover, Cliq also supports various default connections for frequently used services like Google and other Zoho services. The default services support numbers over 80. You can share a connection that you created with your organization, or you can also use a connection that another user in your organization has shared after authenticating it. Now, why do you need connections? People use a wide variety of apps for their day-to-day use. The process of switching between apps breaks your focus and also marks a dip in productivity. You might think that it only takes a few seconds to switch apps, and yes, it's not that much time. But researchers at Cambridge state that employees on average switch apps over 1,100 times a day. Now add it all up and the numbers start to get bigger and bigger. Now how cool would it be if you could connect the apps that you frequently use directly to the Cliq app? This is exactly what connections do. They help simplify the process of connecting third-party applications with Cliq using URL invokes, thereby reducing your workload as well as saving time. We saw that there are two types of connections. Connections with default services that are already supported and connections with custom services that you can initiate. First, let's try using a connection with default service, that is Google, which we are going to use to send a mail from our Gmail directly from within Cliq. To do this, go to cliq.zoho.com and click on your profile on the top right corner, and in that click on Bots and Tools. In the Integrations tab at the bottom you can find Connections. Click on that. Now here, to create a connection, click on Create Connection button, and we're going to go with default service, and this time it's going to be Google, so click on Google. Now let's type in the connection name as Gmail for Cliq. So we need a scope. This scope is going to be gmail.send, since we're going to send a mail from our Gmail. So click on Create and Connect. Now it's going to ask for authentication. Click on Connect to authenticate the service. Now my mail ID is RyanWest803, so I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to click on Allow. Now you can see that the connection has been successfully created. Now let's create a slash command that's going to send the Gmail. So click on slash command and click on create command. Now the name of the slash command is going to be Gmail send. So the hint is going to be sends a mail from your Gmail account. The access level, I'm going to go with personal on this one, but if you want to share your slash command with your team or your organization, you can go with team or organization. I'm going to click on save and edit. Now we're going to delete the whole code. So we're going to create a response map. Now we need to invoke a form that's going to take the input of the recipient email ID and the mail content. To do that, go to click.zoho.com/form builder. Now here the title is going to be send Gmail, and the send is going to be send a mail from your Gmail account. Now the button label is going to be sent. So we need a text field. This is going to be the email address of the recipient. So I'm gonna rename it as recipient email address ID. It's gonna be example. Let's say it's gonna be example@gmail.com. So after this, now let's put the maximum length is 25. Okay. Now we need another text field. This is going to be the title of the mail. So we're gonna give it mail title, and it's gonna be title. Placeholder is gonna be title. So after that, we need another text field. Now this is going to be the mail content. So we're gonna name it content, and the label is going to be mail content. Now in the placeholder, for the placeholder, let's say it's going to be content goes here. Now let's set the maximum length for the content as 100. Yeah, 100 should be enough. So let's try previewing the form. Now you can see that it has a text field that's gonna take the recipient email address. Now a title for the mail title, and another text field that's gonna take the mail content. So we're gonna copy the code, copy the JSON format, and we're gonna paste it here. And make sure to rename it as send Gmail or something else. So now at the end, we're gonna return the response. Also in the form, I forgot to choose the mandatory option for all the fields. So if you had chosen mandatory, all these would have been true. Make sure to change this at the end, or if you, at the form builder, you can just choose mandatory, and this will all be true. Now click on save to save the / command. Now you can see at the end here, this whole form at the end is going to invoke a function. The name of the function, we're going to name it as, let's say, send Gmail function. Now this function is going to be executed at the submission of this form. So we're going to save it, and we're going to create a function with this name. So go to functions on the left corner and click on create function. Now we know that our function is going to be send Gmail function. So this is going to be gets invoked on /sendmail Gmail send. So this is going to be invoked from a form. So we're going to choose form type and click on save and edit code. Now delete the entire code. Now I don't want to bore you with typing in the whole code, so I already have the code copied and copied in my clipboard. Now for those of you who do not have much coding experience, do not worry, because all the code that I'm copying and using in this webinar is going to be available to you in the post webinar email that I mentioned at the start. So I'm going to paste it here, and I'm also going to explain the code, so don't worry about it. So first I created a variable called user ID, in which I'm gonna code my email address. So I have my email address as ryanwest803@gmail.com, which I'm gonna save it in a variable called user ID. After that, from the form, I'm gonna get the values into another variable called form values, and from this form value, I'm gonna get the email address of the recipient email address into the variable called receiver, the title into another variable called title, and the content of the email in another variable called content. Now the next few lines are just me changing the format of the mail into base64 encoding, as Gmail APIs only support that format. If you want to know more about this type of format, you can check their REST API docs. After that, I'm going to invoke the REST API, which is going to be the URL. Which for this, the URL for the REST APIs can be got from the Gmail REST API page. Here, I'm going to replace the user ID with my user ID, and the type is going to be post, and the connection which I'm going to use is the same connection that I created at the start, and that's it. Now I'm going to click on save. Now the function has been saved. So let's try the function and the / command that we've just created. Now click on any chat window and let's say /send Gmail send. Yeah. Now enter. Now you can see that the form appears. Now for the recipient email address, now let's say I want to send a mail to my friend Scott from my work. So I know his email ID as scottfisher@zilker.com. Now the mail title is going to be about marketing sheets. Now the mail content is going to be, hi Scott, can I get the marketing sheets for the month? Now I've created my mail content. I'm going to click on send. Now for the first time it's going to ask for authentication. I'm going to click on proceed to allow. Now let's check if the mail has actually been sent. So I'm going to go to my Gmail, and if I go to my sent mails, you can see that I've sent, the mail has been sent from my Gmail. Now I have just sent a Gmail from my Gmail account without ever having to go to Gmail. This is the power of connections. Now let's look at the next type of connections, which uses custom services. Here we're going to connect with Todoist, an application that is used to manage your tasks. With this connection, we're going to add tasks to your Todoist application straight from Cliq without ever having to open the application. To do this, first search for the Todoist REST API and in Google, and click on the first one. Now here you need to click on manage app. Here you need to create a new app to connect your application. Now since our app is going to be Cliq, I'm going to name the app as Cliq. The app service is going to be https://cliq.zoho.com/. Now we're going to click on create app. Here the redirect URL is going to be https://deluge.zoho.com/delugeauth/callback. Now let's say the description is going to be for Cliq connection, and we're going to save the settings. Now the app has been saved. Let's go back and now click on your profile, and let's go create the connection. Now click on bots and tools and click on connection. Now we're going to create another connection. With this time, this is going to be with custom services, and we're going to click on create service, and this service name, let's say it's going to be Todoist for Cliq. Now the authentication is going to be OAuth2 type, and we're going to pass a parameter as a header. The grant type is going to be authorization code. Now you can get the client ID and the client secret from your manage app section. Please make sure that you never share your client ID and your client secret with anyone else, because this is sensitive information. Now for the authorization URL, you can go back to the Todoist developer page and click on guides, and here click on authorization, and you can get the authorization URL somewhere over here. Yeah, now this is the authorization URL. We're going to copy this one and we're going to paste it here. And for the access token URL, it's going to be the same, but it's going to be somewhere on here. Now we're going to copy the access token URL. We're going to copy it and we're going to paste it here. The same URL is going to be used for refresh token as well, so we're going to paste it here. And for the scopes, if you go back to the guides, you can see on the top that we need a few scopes that for permissions. So we're going to need the task add and the data read and write. We're going to add these two scopes here, and we're going to create another scope which is going to be data read and write. We're going to copy that and we're going to paste it here. and after that we're going to click on create service. Now the connection name, let's say it's going to be Todoist for Cliq as well, and we're going to add both these scopes here. We're going to use the credentials of login user, and we're going to click on create and connect. Now this is going to ask for authentication. I'm going to click on connect. Now I'm going to click on agree, and now the connection has been successfully created. Now I'm going to create a bot, so I'm going to click on create bot. So let's say the name of the bot is Todoist bot for Cliq. Todoist bot for Cliq, and the description is going to be helps add tasks to your Todoist application. I'm gonna go for the personal access level again. I'm gonna click on save bot. Now the bot is ready. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add a shortcut menu that's going to add the task. So I'm gonna name this as add task. I'm gonna add the menu. Now delete the entire code. Now I'm gonna paste it here. Paste the code for the bot that I already have here. Now here you can see that I'm invoking the URL, and this is going to be a get function, and this URL is for getting all the projects. So here if you go to the REST API, there is a REST API for getting all the projects. So if you click on go to projects and get a users projects, if you go to get a users projects, you can get all the projects using this URL. So I'm invoking this URL here, and the type is going to be get, and the connection is the same connection that I just created, Todoist for Cliq. And here in the REST API you can see that all the projects or the values of all the projects come as a list, and each project is a map. So I'm going to create I've created a projects list, a list called projects list, and for each project in the projects list, I'm getting the name of the project as the project name, the ID of the project as a variable called project ID, and I'm gonna post both the project ID and the project name as label and value in another map called project available. Now I'm gonna add both these values into another list called projects list. This list called projects list. So in the end I'm getting only the name and the ID of the projects in another list. So here this is another form that I've invoked, which you can also create using the form builder that I mentioned in the first example. So I'm going to click on save. Now the bot has been saved. Now here the invoke function, let's say the invoke function of the function that's going to be invoked is going to be add task function. So we're going to save it again. Now we're going to go create that function called add task function. Click on create function. So it's going to be add task function. Description is for Todoist adding tasks. Now this function is going to be invoked from a form, so we're going to go for form and click on save and edit code. Now delete the default codes, and I'm going to paste the code for the form, the function here. Here I get the form values again in a form values variable, and for each form I'm going to get the task name for the form in another variable called task name. The project is going to be a list, so I'm going to get the value of the project in the variable called project, and the value of the priority as in a variable called priority. Here then I've created a map called task map. I'm putting the project variable and in a value called project ID, and the task name in a variable called content, and the priority in a variable called priority. Then I'm invoking the URL called tasks, which is going to be a post type, and here the parameters is going to be the map called task map, and here the connection that I've used is the same connection Todoist for Cliq. Now I'm going to click on save. Now the function has been saved. Here, let's try adding a task. So if I click on task, I'm going to click on proceed to allow. The task name, let's say fill in the marketing sheets. So I'm going to click. So if I click on projects, all the projects that I have are going to be dynamically updated here. To check this, now let's go to the Todoist app. Now here I've logged into my account, and here you can see that I have a few projects called welcome, try boards, and marketing. Here in the projects field, all the projects that have been added here are dynamically got from my projects and pasted here. So if I click on marketing, and the priority, let's say it's going to be very urgent, and set the deadline of the tasks to a date. Now I'm going to click on add task. Now since I'm using this for the first time, it needs an authentication. Now I've added the task. So I've added the task. Let's go back to the app and click the marketing app, marketing projects. We can see that a task has been added called fill in the marketing sheets. So now we can just add tasks to our Todoist application without ever having to switch apps. This is all thanks to the custom connection that we just created. Extensions are basically just bundles of Cliq components. You can bundle the components that you have created into an extension. These extensions can then be hosted in the marketplace, through which you can share your components with other users and orgs. It should be noted that the only way to share your components outside of your organization is to bundle them into an extension and then host it in the marketplace. Now let's try bundling all our Todoist components into an extension. To do that, click on your profile, click on bots and tools, and click on my extensions. Now here click on create extension, and here since we're going to go for Todoist, so we're going to say over Todoist for Cliq. Then the name of the extension helps connect your Todoist application with Cliq, and we're going to choose the Todoist bot. And we're also going to choose the send task function, add task function, and we're going to click on create. Now looks like our extension has been put together, and here you can see that there is an option called edit and there is an option called publish. If you have ever created a few more components for your extension, you can then click on edit and then add more components if you want. The publish option is used to publish your extension to the Cliq marketplace. Now to access the marketplace, click on the plug icon near your profile picture and click on marketplace. Now you can see that the this is the Cliq marketplace for the extension marketplace. Now if you search for Todoist, you can see that we already have a Todoist extension that has been published in the Cliq marketplace. It should be noted that the Todoist extension that we created is very basic and handles only one use case, that is adding a task to our Todoist account. You can check out this published extension in the marketplace, which has a lot more components and handles various use cases. This is an example of a full-fledged extension. You can check out this extension and try creating more components to fulfill other use cases, or even find newer use cases that tackle your problems and add it to your custom extension. That is all for the explanation of Zoho Cliq platform extensions and connections. Please note that if you want to rewatch the webinar again in the future, please subscribe to our Zoho Cliq YouTube channel, as the recorded version will be uploaded there. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you had some of your doubts cleared about connections and extensions.